Continuing our Chapter 6, Exponents and Polynomials, we're doing Section 6.5, Dividing Polynomials. We'll be skipping 6.6 after this and moving on to finish Chapter 6 with Section 6.7. Let's recall the definition of exponents, which is if you have x raised to an exponent, say, of n, that means that you're multiplying x times itself n times. So x to the fifth would be x times x times x times x times x several times. Another example would be x cubed. E.g. means, for example, x cubed is by definition x times itself 3 times, x times x times x. So the beginning of this assignment says divide the monomials. Check each answer by showing that the product of the divisor and the quotient is the dividend. So just a reminder that it's good to just go back and check your answer. The two ways to approach these problems, one is to use the definition of exponents, and the other is to remember the rule. So let's look at what this would look like by definition. And let's also recall that when you have a fraction, right there is a fraction bar, a fraction means the same as division. So this is saying 45x to the 12th divided by 15x to the 4th. By definition, we would spread this out so that x to the 12th is x times itself 12 times. See if I did enough there. It feels like I did. I've got a little hand cramp. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And then on the bottom, x to the 4th, there would be x times itself 4 times. Now in terms of the number, you would be looking to put the numbers in prime factorization as well, because again the goal here would be to see what's going to cancel out, what divides into itself, which just gives you 1, and that's how you can cancel. So in terms of the numbers, 45 would break down to be 3 times 3 times 5. This is a Math 20 concept, so if this is new to you or foreign or you're a little rusty on it, make sure you get some extra help. Either come to class or get in touch with a friend or tutor, buddy, classmate, student learning center, multicultural center. You can make an appointment with me, or you can just come to class and we can talk about it during class too. Breaking down 45 into 3 times 3 times 5. It's prime factorization. 15 would break down into 3 times 5. Oh, sorry. 3 times 5 there. Okay, and then you're looking to see what would cancel. And in this case, we've got a 3 on the top and a 3 on the bottom. 5 on the top and a 5 on the bottom. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so it doesn't change it when you get rid of that. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so again it's like multiplying this by 1, it doesn't change it. You also have 4 pairs of x's top and bottom. Well, what does that leave behind? That leaves a 3 on the top. That leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 x's multiplied by itself. X multiplied by itself 8 times. By definition, that's x to the 8th. On the bottom, everything has been canceled out, so that means it just leaves 1. And so our answer is 3x to the 8th. Now you could do this over and over. By definition, writing it all out, what you'd start to notice is the rule. It's another word for a pattern in mathematics. The rule is that you divide the numbers, the actual numbers that you see in the problem, and then you reduce that fraction. So in this case, 45 over 15 was 45 divided by 15, which is equal to 3, and that didn't need to reduce at all. So it's just plain old 3. Basically, you're reducing the fraction when you divide the numbers. And then in terms of the letters, you subtract. In terms of the algebra here, the unknowns, you subtract the exponents. Subtract the exponents. And you always take the top exponent minus the bottom. So we've got two different things happening here. You've got what's happening with the numbers and what's happening with the algebra, the letters. And you're going to subtract the exponents. In this case, it would have been x to the 12 minus 8, because the 12 was the top exponent, the 8, or I'm sorry, 12 minus 4, getting ahead of myself. The 4 was the bottom exponent, and that gave you x to the 8th. So our final answer was 3x to the 8th, which is what we had over here. So you can either do this by definition or by the rule. Let's look at another example. As you get going through the assignment, here we were at number 38, get moving along, and it's going to get more complicated. But it doesn't change how you do it. You just have more to do in each problem. You're still going to deal with the numbers separate from the letters, and you're going to deal with each letter separately, the x's, the y's, and the z's. Okay? Then remember, you've gotten there gradually, but in the notes we aren't going to do 10 different problems to get to here. We're just highlighting things in the notes to help you along on the assignment. Some of you are choosing to watch the video lessons before you do the assignment. Some of you are choosing to watch the video lessons as needed. So you might start by doing the assignment, get stuck. You can come back to the notes, see matching problems, similar problems, look for the matching instructions in the section that you're stuck, and then turn around and watch that particular video. So however you want to use the video lessons and the notes and the problem sets to your best advantage, both time-wise and knowledge-wise and memory-wise for the test, do so. And if you aren't sure, let's talk in class about how we can come up with a good strategy that fits you and your learning style and your time schedule. Okay, so back to number 52 here. By definition, the negative 8 can be written as a negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's the prime factorization of negative 8. The x to the 12th, there'd be 12 of these x's written out here. You'd have y to the 10th, so there'd be 10 of the y's, and then you'd have z, there'd be 4 of the z's. X to the 12th, y to the 10th, z to the 4th. And then underneath you'd have 40, which in prime factorization is 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Again, if you aren't sure where I'm getting these numbers, that's a Math 20 concept. Let's get you in for some extra help right away. Student Learning Center, Multicultural Center, online tutoring, friend, neighbor, classmate, myself, whatever it takes. Okay, on the bottom you have x squared, which is just x times x, y cubed, which is y times itself 3 times, and z squared. Now you can imagine that all these x's written out, all these y's written out here, that the 2 of the x's would cancel with 2 of them up here, leaving 10 x's on top. 3 of the y's on the bottom would cancel with 3 of the y's on the top, which would leave you 7 y's on the top. 2 z's on the bottom would cancel with 2 of the z's on the top, leaving you with 2 z's from the 4. And this is, again, doing this by definition, literally writing out what the exponents mean, writing out the prime factorization of the numbers and the letters, and then canceling matching pieces, matching factors, top and bottom. In terms of numbers, the negative 1 doesn't cancel, the 5 doesn't cancel, but the 3 2's on top cancel with the 3 2's on the bottom. And notice that we're in the multiplication family. Everything's being multiplied on the bottom. Everything's being multiplied on the top. That's our green light for canceling. Okay, we're in the family. What's left behind? Well, we've got a negative 1 up top. We've got a 5 on the bottom. We've got x to the 10th on the top. Y to the 7th. And, sorry, that's a 7. And z squared. Or you could write that as negative x to the 10th, y to the 7th, z squared, the whole thing over 5. Those mean the same thing. That can take some time and some paper, so you might want to start memorizing the rule, the pattern. Again, the rule says to divide the numbers, so you'd take, so by the rule, you take negative 8 over 40, which is equal to negative 1 over 5. And then in the exponents, you'd take the top exponent minus the bottom. So in the x's, it would be 12 minus 2, which is equal to x to the 10th, y to the 10 minus 3, top minus the bottom. It's not always bigger minus small, it's always top minus the bottom. Get y to the 7th. And then on the z's, that'd be z to the 4 minus 2, which is z squared. If you ever forget the rule, though, you can always write it out by definition to remind yourself what it needs to be. You can see that the x's, how the x's cancel. Left with x to the 10th. How did we get there? Well, it's 12 minus 2. You can remind yourself. So you can either do it by the rule or the pattern. Either way, you get negative 1/5, x to the 10th, y to the 7th, z to the 2nd. Right? Now, the more you do of these problems, the better you will get at them. And we'll move on to the bottom of the page in the next video.